The developers at Capcom did a fantastic job with the 2023 release of the Resident Evil 4 remake and left a lot of us fans wanting a lot more from Capcom. They did a fantastic job with the remake, taking the original and dialing all of its aspects up to 11, and even just in general expanding upon various areas of the game to make it a much more cohesive, enjoyable experience. Many of us fans have started to wonder, if not already wondering, what game will be released next from Capcom for the Resident Evil series, and just the other day we got a hint as to what this game could be, and that game was Resident Evil 5. A few days ago, a lot more players in the Resident Evil community have noticed that the Steam files for Resident Evil 5, the 2009 release, were updated, with various details being removed, similar to how we saw this being the case with the original Resident Evil 4 release on Steam prior to Resident Evil 4's remake's announcement. As for what the specific details were, data mining revealed that the description, name and release date for the 2009 Resident Evil 5 Steam store page were manually removed on the 7th of February of this year, which was not too long ago as of the making of this video. This does make sense given the Resident Evil 5's remake will most likely just be called Resident Evil 5 along with the release year in brackets, similar to how they've done with the Resident Evil 4 remake, where it's just Resident Evil 4 brackets 2023. But this begs the question as to what this means exactly. This could simply be an error on Steam side where someone's accidentally removed the data for Resident Evil 5 and it was just a simple coincidence, given that Resident Evil 5 seems to be on the radar of Capcom's upcoming games for the Resident Evil series. But it could also just simply directly refer to the fact that Resident Evil 5 could be the next Capcom release. I think a lot of us did think that Resident Evil 9 would be the more plausible subsequent release after Resident Evil 4's remake, but maybe they'll go back to back with remakes before finishing the final trilogy, kind of tidying up all the games between 7 and prior, where it's clearly they are targeting for the remakes section of the Resident Evil releases. But of course, time will tell. It could just simply be the fact that Resident Evil 5 is next on the release list. We did see with the Resident Evil 4 ending where Albert Wesker was clearly emphasised as the next chapter in the story. Of course, it is a prior chapter, so a prequel, if you will, but it's definitely something to keep in mind. And just to add on to that final little cutscene of Resident Evil 4, there were a lot of aspects that directly linked into the story of Resident Evil 5, so I wouldn't be too surprised if they did go ahead with this remake before they released Resident Evil 9. And then you also have all the fans that are looking for a Code Veronica release. There hasn't been too much emphasis on this from Capcom's end. Of course, they did delete or cancel and stop the production of the fan remake for Code Veronica, which in itself is it's kind of a sign that it is on their radar. And they did also send out a survey a while back where Code Veronica was the highest voted game, so it might have been the fact that Code Veronica wasn't on their list of games to release. Resident Evil 5 was the original intended release, but then with that survey coming forward and of course the fan remake having so much community backing, they've probably added Code Veronica onto their remakes, which is most likely going to be one of those 5 games that were leaked a while ago that are in development all at the same time. But once again, guys, keep in mind that this is a simple change in terms of these Steam files and their updated little details where the description, name and release date has been removed. It could easily just be an error, but keep in mind, once again, this is something that happened in a very similar way for the Resident Evil 4 original release prior to the remake's announcement. So it's not something to brush off for sure, but it is a little thing to hang on to if you want a bit of hype to get generated, because these games are definitely on the way. There's no chance that Capcom will not go ahead with these games within the next 3 to 4 years, and that is including Resident Evil 9, Code Veronica and 5. But once again, As always guys, let me know down below if you are excited for the Resident Evil 5 remake, and if you think there is any relevance to Capcom's plans with these Steam page modifications for the original RE5, or if it's just a minor unrelated change for something completely different. As always guys, a like would be extremely appreciated if you did enjoy. It does help the channel a ton, and I really appreciate all of your support, and be sure to subscribe for a lot more content. Don't forget to join our Discord, link is at the top of the description. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.